This is CJ with the GOAT Sports Talk. Of course, wanted to talk about the fight. And, as was said before, from all the followers, of this fight and wanting to know, who was going to win between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Pretty much it happened exactly how I thought it was going to happen. Felt like it was going to be, a late round stoppage. I know some people were talking about it was going to end with Mayweather winning in like 6 rounds or 7 rounds, but I didn't see that. I saw it going later in part because of the fact that I knew that Mayweather was going to his option to make this look like a good fight for the sake of the fans and for the sake of those that were going to be buying into the largest fight in boxing pay-per-view history was to make it look like Mayweather like McGregor had a chance. And as we've seen that throughout the fight, that Mayweather, especially early on, allowed him to be the more of the aggressor, to throw the punches, which worked in his favor because he wore himself out. And the thing about it is Mayweather didn't feel the need to exchange early on because of the fact that, one, it's better just to let the guy wear himself out, because the only way that Conor McGregor knew he was going to win was not to outbox, but was to outbrawl and basically go out there and throw punches. And that's what happens when you're in a brawling phase. You're just throwing punches and you're probably getting hit and you're hitting back. And eventually somebody's going to go down because you're basically exchanging punches when you get into a brawl, which is one of the things that casual fans who are not really a fan of the science of boxing, that's what they want. That's what they think fighting is. But that's not how someone stays in the career of boxing as long as Mayweather has had, and has actually came out relatively unscathed from serious injuries and harm. He never had to be taken to the hospital after a match. He never had to be go through a particular surgery or something like that, or have to recover from a broken bone in his face or his rib or things like that, because of the fact that he basically ensures that he hits and he doesn't get hit. And we did see early on that he did allow Conor to hit him, and I think the reason why he allowed Conor to even hit him because he knew the punches were not powerful. One thing that Mayweather did to see how powerful his punches were was when he came up into that shell early on, you could then phase and say, okay, you know what, this guy's throwing with his best early on, and I'm feeling these punches hitting my glove, and with the guy as experienced as him, he can kind of give it a good idea of how well his power is. Is his power on a level of Canelo? Is it on the level of Shane Mosley? Is it on the level of Cotto? And is it on the level of Maidana? Just talking about just the more recent fighters that he fought, and how much more De La Hoya, or Jose Luis Castillo, or other fighters that he's fought that had some power on him. And he determined through what he knows that the power that he had was not enough to hurt him and harm him, and that's when he started throwing his own punches. And he basically, at that point, as the round started progressing, after 3 rounds, I'll say about a 4th round, and I say especially if you watch like from round 7 onward, like you get to 6, you can see like a change in the aggressiveness of Mayweather, and you can see clearly that Conor McGregor was backpedaling. Okay, I mean, at that point he was hugging and backpedaling. Why? Because he started to feel those punches and say, damn, this power is a lot more than I thought it would be, and I'm feeling it now. He started feeling it, and it starts to take a toll. And once Mayweather started connecting, we get to that 9th round. That 9th round was brutal. You got to that 10th round, it's like the guy wasn't even defending himself. And I do agree with what Conor McGregor said, that he would like to have touched the canvas, because at the end of the day, we don't. People don't want no more excuses. There was a lot of heat on both sides of people that were on the side of Mayweather and McGregor, and a lot of guys just doing a lot of talking. But when it came down to it, the only thing was going to be the 2 boxers. They were going to talk with their fists. And like we predicted before, like I said before, it was a heist. And people that bet on McGregor, we told you were just giving Vegas money, and that's what you did. You gave Vegas money. You gave Vegas money because you bet against a guy who is the best boxer of his generation. To me, probably the best boxer, and as far as the non-heavyweights since, we could talk about prime Roy Jones Jr., but I'm talking about your Sugar Ray Leonards. Like, we're talking about he's on that level and probably greater because he didn't take no losses, and at the end of the day, as what I've seen with McGregor, I think that he still has a lot a fight in him in the MMA world, and I think that him making this money, he should be able to command 8-figure purses. Like if UFC wants him back with his name crossing over into boxing and people knowing him now because he fought Mayweather, and now they're kind of like maybe have earned he's earned maybe a little bit of respect. Then from the boxing fans, possibly a lot of boxing fans, to be honest, are not really cutting for him like that. Now in the MMA world, they can flip over and say, look, I like this guy as an MMA fighter, but as a boxer, I don't want to deal with this guy no more. So now we could say, now can UFC uptick their price considering the fact that he's made such a large figure? Can they give him 8-figure purses? We don't know, because now they got to up the pay-per-view, they got to up the gate. There's a lot of things that come with that, and it's just very difficult to probably do, which is the reason why I don't believe that he's going to come back anytime soon. I think that he'd probably rather fight in the spring, probably against Paul Malignani or whatever, as another form of entertainment. Maybe he could make a little bit of money from that, but to me, with the amount of money he's going to make, is it worth him chasing $3 to $5 million purses moving forward if he's already made $100 million and now he could potentially go into other avenues and make money through those means? And that's what I think he's going to do personally. And at the end of the day, it ended like I thought it was going to end. I thought it was going to end in round 9, to be honest. I thought that round 9, I thought that Floyd Mayweather was going to play around with him for 3-4 rounds and let him gas himself out. And I thought that Mayweather was going to pick up in 5, 6, 7, and 8 and basically have him down in round 9. But of course it went to round 10. Round 9 looked like he could have went down that time. But at round 10, he literally was not even defending himself. And I think that it was owed to the public to know outright who was going to win. If you're going to let him fight, let him at least touch the canvas once. If he goes down to the canvas, he hasn't been defending himself, then I could understand you calling the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I understand where McGregor was coming from, because to me, I would rather that first versus, calling it when he's still on his feet, even though he was taking some hits. He was taking some brutal hits, and it was probably going to get worse. I just think that the next hit probably would have put him on the ground, and then you could have stopped the fight, and you could have said, okay, look, no more. You're not defending yourself. You fell to the canvas, and I can't have you get back up and take more punishment. Because one thing you know about boxing is that guys are dying in boxing more than they do in MMA, because your body takes a toll. Your conditioning, your cardiovascular, your fatigue, the fatigue level that sets in conjunction with the punishment in boxing has led to deaths of many fighters. In boxing, a guy just died, I think, like a few weeks ago, boxing, a professional fight. So we know this thing happens more often, and that's the reason why they want to stop these fights before they get out of hand. And I think that by him not being on the canvas, it saved his brand. In fact, a lot of people are giving him props, in part because they didn't see him fall to the canvas. Because if he fell to the canvas and was wobbly and couldn't compose himself back again, now you got that image that's ingrained in people's mind of this guy basically being knocked down instead of a TKO that occurred. So in essence, the referee also saved the brand of Conor McGregor, because now a lot of people can run with he stood toe to toe with the guy that was 49-0, the best ever, blah 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 blah. He lasted 10 rounds. Wait, what's his name was knocked out earlier than that? In terms of the guy from England. We know that not being knocked out in one round or another doesn't really matter anyway. But to the public, to those that are trying to look for moral victories, it does. Versus like the Ricky Hatton. Now, could Ricky Hatton, when he fought Mayweather, that Ricky Hatton version would have walked through Conor McGregor, and he got knocked out by Floyd. You know what I'm saying? And Ricky Hatton was known to be a hard hitter. So when you look at those type of things, I think that if you're McGregor, you should have already expected that you probably were going to lose anyway. You knew that you only probably had a puncher's chance, and even when you landed punches that Floyd was basically giving you, they wasn't even rocking them. So what does that mean? You made money and you fooled everybody into thinking that you could win and buying into the fight, and you made $100+ million, you could take over and go into cinema now, man. At this point, just go into acting. I think that's the best role for him, is to go into acting, because shoot, you played a good role of making people believe that you were going to win. I think that deserves you to go into the next level, which is acting. And I think you got many different gigs that he can go into in acting. And with his mixed martial arts ability, I think you can make him like the next Chuck Norris. You get what I'm saying? With his mixed martial arts, you can make some Chuck Norris style movies for him. You can make some Jason Statham type movies with him. And I think that's the next thing for him to go into, and then go into basically promoting products, man. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't, I'm not gonna say, hey, I respect the guy. He went there for $100 million. There's not an MMA fighter right now that would turn down $100 million to be a piñata to a boxer. If it means they're gonna get $100 million at the end, they've lost worse. They've been choked out, stomped out, kneed out, elbowed out, into concussion, into complete, seeing stars and going to the hospital afterwards. It's nothing in their minds to take that for $100 million, especially with the kind of money that they're not getting at UFC. So what bravery was he showing? Anybody would have taken that match. I would have taken that match to be a human piñata for a few rounds. You know what I'm saying? And then basically be on my way with my money. It is what it is. So let me know what you think, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.